So, Carson Wentz, a guy right now that is struggling. Struggling big time and missing throws. He's been inaccurate. He's been turning the football over, 4 interceptions at this point of the season. The Eagles are 0-2. I mean, it's a questionable situation right now in Philadelphia when it comes to Carson Wentz. I will say this when it comes to Wentz. I'm not off that bandwagon at all when it comes to Wentz. I still think he's a very good quarterback, a guy that can be an elite quarterback. I look at 2017, and I know that was 3 years ago, but he was the league MVP before he got hurt late in the season. This guy is a playmaker, and I saw him last year. The plays that he made, the Eagles had nobody at the wide receiver spot, no weapons, and Carson Wentz carried that group. And I know it was a bad division, but he carried that group to the playoffs. So, and I know there's been some injury concerns, and I know he's been inaccurate at this point, but I think he's still elite in my opinion. How do you see Wentz?
Yeah, I haven't seen too many of the games. I know he hasn't been playing as well. He's got to pick it up, Paul. He's got to start playing better. If he doesn't, if you keep losing, you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to put Hurts in there and see what he can do. Is Wentz hurt? He had the back issue. He's had some his knee. He's had some issues, Paul. And like we said, when you have these issues, sometimes it takes a little long for that body to heal up. And if he's not 100% right, they're giving you that money. They're going to play you. So, the same thing we talking about Cam. Is he 100% out there? I don't know if he's 100%. I'm saying he doesn't. It looks like to me something's off. I mean, they didn't draft the quarterback for no reason, Paul. They did it for a reason.
For sure.
So you draft Jalen Hurts, who's an outstanding athlete, who had a real good year at Oklahoma last year when he transferred. I'm gonna tell you what: if Wentz needs to come out and have a good game, if not, they're gonna have to go in another direction.
So they play the Bengals this week, which is a very, very, very winnable football game.
He needs to play well this week.
And if he doesn't beat the Bengals, I'm not saying I'm putting him to the bench at this point, but he's got to play well.
If he's not playing well in the first half, he could get pulled.
See, I don't. Yeah,
it's the Bengals. So if I'm gonna put the young kid in there, I'm gonna put him in against somebody. He's got a chance against. I'm not gonna put him in against Baltimore. I'm gonna put him in against somebody he might be able to do some stuff with. And if Wentz can't get them going against, and all everybody's healthy, right? Is Deshaun playing? Hurts is playing?
Deshaun is playing. I mean, they did lose.
What's his excuse?
But he's off. He's definitely off. I know week 1 he had some issues in terms of getting sacked. He got sacked 8 times against the Redskins, but there were times where he held the ball too long. And then last week, he seemingly had pretty good protection. He just missed some throws. He was just flat out off last week. And part of it, and I know every team is dealing with this, but the lack of preseason, definitely. Yeah. But at the same time, guys don't really play all that much in the preseason anyway. So, I don't know.
But you are getting more practice together. That's what you're not getting the practice and the timing down. That's what. So not just the games. You're doing more practicing, doing training camp and everything that they didn't get a chance to do, and they didn't get a chance to do the OTAs. But really, it's training camp when you get your rhythm and you're practicing and your schemes and all that stuff down. The receiver and them on the right page. But we can't really make an excuse for that because they've been running the same system for a few years. So and those guys are veteran guys. So you see my point?
Right, but there are some young players out there with them. But here's the thing: and we talk about Jalen Hurts, and to me, I didn't necessarily like the draft pick, but to me, they must see something that I don't, and they must have a plan that I don't know about. But it's hard for me to. For me, the only time you go to Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, this season is when you're officially eliminated from the playoffs. The moment that you're officially eliminated from the playoffs, to my opinion, is the moment you go to Jalen Hurts. If you're not officially eliminated from the playoffs, then I think you stick with Carson Wentz. But to your point, if you go out and stink up the joint against the Cincinnati Bengals, it is unacceptable in a lot of ways. And it is something that is definitely going to be very, 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 very interesting if that happens, because then you have a guy that may not – I don't know what's going on at that point. But I think this is a game – this is a get-right game. And this is a game where he can get right, the team can get right, and maybe it could turn the whole situation around. I want to ask you this. And, I've heard other people talk about this, and we actually lost Willie Roaf, but we'll try to get him back in a moment. And before we get him back, let me just say this. I've heard people talk about this, and when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll get him back now. You all good?
Yeah, you know what happens? Somebody called my phone while we're doing it, and when they called it, the volume goes way down. So just don't want to call anymore.
No. So here's the thing, and I've heard, I had this conversation with someone else. At the end in 2017, when Carson Wentz went down, ultimately Nick Foles came in, led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, and then the following year, Carson Wentz went down with a back injury. Nick Foles came in and led them to the playoffs in 2018. But ultimately, Nick Foles went on to the Jaguars, got hurt there, and ultimately he went on to the Chicago Bears at this point. But I look at this situation, and I heard someone say this, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but someone said that maybe the Eagles should have moved because of how well Nick Foles plays in Doug Peterson's system. Maybe the Eagles should have moved on from Wentz after that 2017 season. So they could have traded him at that point and probably got a boatload of picks and, been able to kind of fortify their football team and still run with Nick Foles. Obviously, you're giving away a big-time quarterback in Carson Wentz, but you have a guy in Nick Foles who plays well in your system and has proven that he can win a championship in your system. Now, I will say this. Back in that 2017 season, one of the reasons they won that championship is because Carson Wentz pretty much put them in position to have home field advantage throughout the course of the playoffs. So he had a big-time year. But looking at it in hindsight, would that have been the move to trade?
No. Foles, some quarterbacks, like I said, not having the pressure of being the starter, you coming in after he carried the load, and it was a magical run. Foles, he's too small to me. I don't know. He's too thin. I just don't think he can take the pounding. I just don't see. He went to Jacksonville, so some quarterbacks are good when they come in and they get to play well, just like Fitzmagic.
Right.
When he's a backup and you put him in, he's played great, But when he's the man and he has to do it himself, it's not the same. So right. I just think you same thing. You got some guys that come in off the bench and play well, but you make them the man, basketball, they can't handle the role. So I just think Foles has been a good player. He got his money. He's just a little undersized. Do I think Wentz is 100% healthy? When you have back surgery and some of the stuff and you're taking that hitting, he's a big boy, but, everybody's body doesn't hold up the same, Paul. So, obviously the doctors are with him and we want him healthy and stuff, but I think, no, I wouldn't have let Wentz go because Wentz was playing in the regular season and did a lot. Like I said, a lot to carry the load to get where they were. It would have been great to hold on to both of them, but you can't do that. So
right.
Foles had to do what he had to do, and now they drafted another young quarterback. So what do you do? If Wentz isn't playing good, maybe you put the young kid in and sit him down for a little bit and see what he can do. And you rest him up and get him motivated. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, like we said, you don't draft a quarterback in the second round for no reason, just for gadgets and things of that nature. You don't do that. So there could be something to that and something brewing in the future. Who knows what that's going to look like. But